CELA presents Accessing CELA using a Victor Reader Stream Daisy Player. So we'll just get started on today's webinar, Accessing CELA using a Victor Reader Stream Daisy Player. Before we begin, I would like to acknowledge that I live and work in Montreal, which is located on unceded Indigenous lands. This territory has long served as a site of meeting and exchange amongst many First Nations, including the Dena'ina Dahada of the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, Huron-Wendat, Abenaki, and Anishinaabe. Today it is home to a diverse population of Indigenous and other peoples. Wherever we find ourselves today across Turtle Island, we can be grateful to the First Nations for their careful stewardship of this land. So welcome everyone. My name is Jessica Desormeaux. I'm CELA's Communications and Access Specialist, and I'm going to be facilitating the webinar today. I'm joined by Iwana Dondrabur, who is our presenter today. Iwana is a peer trainer at CELA. She is passionate about all things accessible technology and enjoys teaching it to others. Herself a CELA patron for many years, she regularly presents CELA webinars and provides support for CELA services to member libraries. So for anyone who doesn't know, what is CELA? So CELA is the Center for Equitable Library Access. We're a free, comprehensive, accessible library service providing over 1.4 million books, magazines, and newspapers to people with print disabilities living in Canada. CELA is a national not-for-profit organization that provides accessible reading services to the approximately 3 million people across Canada with print disabilities. We provide reading materials in accessible formats like Braille, e-text, and audio. Our services ensure that people with print disabilities across the country are more able to fully participate in learning, work, and community life, and contribute to the social, cultural, and economic development and success of their local and broader communities. So print disabilities encompass those who are blind or visually impaired, people with reading comprehension disabilities, such as dyslexia, and those with physical disabilities that make it difficult to hold and read a book. Our mission is to support public libraries in the provision of accessible library collections and to champion the fundamental right of Canadians with print disabilities to access media and reading materials in the format of their choice. So I'm going to pass it over to Iwana now, who will get into the main topic of today's webinar and talk to you about the Victor Stream.
Hello, everyone. It's a real pleasure to be here. So now a little overview of what we'll be talking today. Today, it will be mainly a demo of the Victor Stream and its various functions, mainly the functions that relate to accessing content from CELA. So first, I will give you a general overview of the device, what makes this device noteworthy and what feature does it have. Then I will do a physical description of the device. And then we will discuss how to configure the device for use with CELA services. We will select a book. We will explore the bookshelf. And then we will look at some playback and navigation features. We will, time permitting, look at some more advanced playback navigation features, such as adding bookmarks and jumping to a specific location in the book. And at the end, I'll show you where to get more help, and the links that I will be sharing during this slide, you will also receive them in the follow-up email. So without further ado, what is the Victor Stream? Victor Stream is a handheld audio player, and those who have the ability to see my video, I hope you can see it here. I have it I will demo it right now. So the Victor Stream is a handheld device you can fits easily in your pocket or purse. It is very accessible. It has easily like recognizable buttons, and every function of the player can be made to speak out loud. So at any moment you hear what the player is doing and it explaining it to you, and it's easy to understand. It is internet enabled, so you can connect it to a wireless network and download books, but it also can play podcasts, internet radio, and you can record your own notes, and it can connect seamlessly to various library services, notably CELA, and there are others, of course, NLS, Bookshare, that you can access through using this player. So you can also do even Wikipedia searches, and so it's quite a versatile player. But the nice thing is that you can go get as fancy as you like with it, or you can keep it quite basic. You can set it up so that your books are automatically synced anytime you turn on the device, and they land on your device and you press play and listen to your book. It will remember your position, and if that's all you want to do, this is what it will do beautifully. But as I said, you can get more you can use more advanced navigation, such as navigation, searching text files. It can not only open audiobooks, but it can also download DAISY textbooks, and even files that are formatted for Braille. It will be able to read them as long as you tell it what kind of Braille alphabet it's using. But this is really a fringe use case, but just to show you how versatile it is. It has a sleep function. The battery lasts about 15 hours on a full charge, and you can charge it in at least 3 hours, sometimes a bit more, depending on the type of charger you have. So that's the Victor Stream in a nutshell. Let's look a little bit about the physical layout of the player. On the front side, which can be seen here, we have 3 main sections. At the top, we have 3 buttons. One is a square-shaped button, that is the go-to button. Next to it is a round button, which it's the bookshelf button. It can navigate between the internal notes or text files that you store locally and your online content, such as CELA, direct-to-player, podcasts, internet radio, and other such things. Then we have a bookmark button on the right of the button. So this is the first row. Then we have a keypad, a numeric keypad that should be familiar to all phone users, or calculator users. And there are raised markers on the 2, 5, 8 keys, and also on the 4 and 6. So they've shaped like in a cross that you can use for navigating. And it helps you orient yourself. And underneath we have another 4 buttons. We have the rewind button on the left. They're kind of long and narrow buttons. Rewind, it has a kind of a rounded arrow pointing to the left, so it suggests going backwards. Then we have a play and pause button and the fast forward button, which and above them is the sleep button. So it has a nice dedicated function for the sleep timer. And this brings me to the next interesting feature of this device. Most buttons, if you press and hold them, they perform a different function than if you just press them. The first one, which is very useful to know, is the 0 key, because if you press it just once, it will tell us general information about the player. Let's try.
Internal space available, 10.20 gigabytes. Battery powered, 77%. Downloads info, CELA direct to player. Dust, silo Salgaser. # VK, 3. 86%. Queued downloads in this service, 3. Wi-Fi connected. Cheerio.
Okay.
About version.
I will stop this. So if I continue presses the 0, it goes through.
Internal space available, 10.19
Okay.
gigabytes.
Stop that. Good.
Radio 1. Playlist.
Okay.
Search on old tunes.
I haven't quite figured out how to quickly make this player stop speaking when I don't want it to say more. Anyways, you can hear that you can press the 0 multiple times and you will hear different types of information: the status of your Wi-Fi connection, the status of your, even the serial number, which downloads are in progress. But if you press and hold the 0 key, we get into a very useful function that I think everybody should be aware of. And you press and hold, and
Key describer on.
it is a key describer. So now all keys are being disabled, and it's a perfect way to start exploring your player without being afraid that you're going to break something. And for example, I can press
Volume 19.
I press the volume down button, which is on the left side of the player.
Bookshelf 1.
So any key that I press now will not be actioned, but it will just be telling you what that key does. To exit, I have to press and hold the 0 key.
Key describer off. Search on old tunes.
Okay. Now, this is the front side with all the main keys that we will be using. On the side of the player, I will try to move it so it's hopefully still aligned. We have the left edge of the player, and here we have, on the top corner, we have the power on button. It's a small button, a small round button. This button you can press and hold to turn on the player or to turn off the player. Underneath it, we've got the volume up and down buttons, and these buttons also perform other functions, as you will see. You can change the speed with them or change the tone of the player. There is, on the other opposite side of the player, on the right side of the player, we have a button marked with a red circle and a dot on it, and this is the record button. So this is useful for those who want to take notes, and or you can mark a book you're listening to with audible bookmarks on it. So this is on the back, we've got the serial number label and other things. I should note that on the bottom, we have a 3.5-inch headphone jack that the moment you plug it in, the external speaker of the player is deactivated. So you have some privacy while you listen to your audio. We have next to it a USB-C connector, and this is specific for the Stream latest model. The previous ones had another type of connection, so USB-C that you can use to connect to charge and also to manage books via the computer, but this is not something that we will be covering today. And then we have just the speaker to the right of it. On the opposite short edge of the computer, so on the top of the player, on the top edge of the player, we have a little slot that you can open, and here you can insert a SD card. So you can extend the capacity of your player if you need more books, and also you can use it. Sometimes there are places where you can get a pre-configured player that has your specific information, and you can insert that SD card there, and it will configure the player for you. So that is something that we offer for libraries, and in fact, patrons can get a pre-configured player from CNIB Smart Life. More about where to buy it later. So now that we've kind of done a tour of the player, let's see what we need to get started to access content from CELA. First of all, to get any kind of content from CELA, we need to have a Wi-Fi connection. A few general concepts that are common to you, whether you have a Victor Stream 2 or 3. The key 7 is your menu key. Let me see if my thing is okay, good, it's centered. Okay, so if I press the menu key, we will explore various menus.
Menu, Humanware playlist, English North America, general settings.
I pressed it again and I hear general settings. The other information you heard was because the last section of the player we were in was the internet radio. So this number 7 key is context specific. If I was in my direct-to-player bookshelf, the key 7 would give you a different menu that's specific to where you are in the player. But then if you press it again, you go to the, so to say, basic main menu of the player. Here we have the general settings.
Navigation and playback.
Navigation and playback.
Wireless.
Wireless. That seems like a good place to look for a wireless connection. If you want to confirm, so, okay, to navigate the menu, I press the 6 key, the number 6 key on the numeric keypad. And to go back, I press the number 4 key. So imagine it is kind of like a cursor cross with the 6 key going left, 6 key going right, 4 key going left, and the 2 key goes up and the A key goes down. To confirm our selection, we always use the pound key, and to exit and return to a previous level, we use the star key. In this case, we heard wireless, so this is a good one.
Airplane mode, off.
We don't want to be in airplane mode.
Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi, that's the one we want. I press the pound key to confirm.
Wi-Fi on.
It is on. I suppose sometimes if you want to confirm, conserve battery, you can put it on airplane mode or turn Wi-Fi off.
Status.
Now it tells me here I could press confirm and it will tell me if it is connected.
New connection.
I can add a new connection here.
Launch connection.
Or I can launch a new. So let's say I would like to, let's say theoretically add a new connection.
ID.
And we have an option to scan for SSID, which is a fancy word for the network name.
WPS connection. Manually connect. Scan for SSID.
Yeah, so we have a few options. For example, like in most cases, you would want to scan to see what network it detects.
Cheerio. CAP. CHEERIO. Signal strength. Excellent.
Beautiful. So this is the Wi-Fi I have. Cheerio happens to be the name of my guide dog.
EBHELIX4829.
Okay, so I could
Cheerio.
go using the 4.
CHEERIO. Signal strength. Excellent.
Using the 4 and 6 keys, you can navigate through these Wi-Fi connections until you find the one you want. You would press confirm, and I will not do it because I do not want to have to reset my password connection. And then once you press confirm, you would here enter your user your network password. How do we enter text, will you ask me, with this keyboard of this player? You use it, some of you may remember the older mobile phones where you would be texting using your keypad. And I will, basically the way you enter letters is you can press each letter is assigned to a specific key on the keypad. So the number 2 on the keypad has the letters A, B, C. Number 3 has D, E, F, and so on. So you would need to kind of learn them, but the input method is quite user-friendly, and we will see it in action a little later. So let's assume that I input correctly my username, my password for my network key, and then I can press pound key and everything hopefully will go well. And I will show you more about how to enter text in a moment when we use connecting to CELA. So now that that's done, let's explore what key was the key that we said is our menu key that brings us to various places. It's the key 7.
Humanware playlist. English general settings.
We're back at the general settings. Now we are looking for the online settings because what we want to do is connect to online services for CELA.
Navigation and playback. Wireless. Recording. Online settings.
That's the one. I press the pound key to confirm.
Software update.
Here is where you could check for updates of your firmware version. But it's also can be set to do this automatically. So at some point you might open your device and you will hear there is a new version available, and you just press confirm and let it do its thing.
Notification mode. No notification.
This is an interesting setting that apparently you can set, because if you have your player set to automatically download content, whether it is CELA books from your direct-to-player bookshelf or podcasts, if you have notifications set to on, it will bing every time a new download is complete. And you can set different settings. You can turn it to on, to sound and message and title of the downloaded content, or turn them off, which is what I did today, so it doesn't interrupt us.
Book services.
Book services, we're getting closer.
Bookshare.
I pressed the confirm key, and now we have Bookshare. That's not what we need.
Daisy Online.
The second option is the one we want, Daisy Online.
Add account. Import configuration.
So we have two options, add account or import configuration. This second option would be useful for those who receive an SD card with a pre-configured information, and you would select this option. But it is not necessary, and we will just use this option, add account.
Anders Lesen. ATZ Hormedia.
Now we have a list of compatible libraries. Anders Lesen, that's a German one.
With 3715. Bayerische Hörbücherei.
Bayerische Hörbücherei, also a German one.
Berliner Blenden Hörbücherei.
Berliner, quite a few German ones, interesting. Blister.
CEUBTLA Chargement Direct.
Okay, this is the CAEB, which is actually CELA, but it is the French interface.
CBB Crystalline Block. CELA Direct to Player.
That sounds good. CELA Direct to Player is what we want. And so I press the number 6 until we heard the one we want, and I press confirm.
Enter username.
Enter username. Now, this is very smart because it already, let me find a test account. Okay, so when you enter a username, it is smart enough to already put that straight into numeric mode. So I have to write 2111470 and confirm.
Enter password.
Enter password. Now let's see how this will go. So I'm looking for the password sunshine. So S, capital S. To switch between lowercase and capital case, you can use the bookmark key, which is on the top right corner of the player.
Uppercase.
So now everything will be uppercase. And I'm looking for the letter S.
P, Q, R, S.
So I pressed the letter 7 4 times until I heard the letter S, and then we heard another click. You may have heard it, and that's how it tells me that the letter S was inserted. So even if you don't know exactly where a letter is to be found, if you kind of know vaguely where it is, you'll just keep pressing the key until you hear the letter you need. Next letter is U.
T, U.
Now, if you already know the letters, you don't have to wait until these clicks, and there are other ways to input text quicker, but you get the gist. N. Let's say you want to review what you did. I can press the fast forward key.
Sun, cap, S, cap, U, cap, N.
Oh, okay, so already I made a mistake because now everything is capitalized. So I will delete the N and the U by using the rewind key.
U.
Deleted, you heard both. So I will now switch to lowercase by pressing the bookmarks button.
Numeric. Lowercase.
Lowercase, okay. So now I will go U.
T, R, R.
Deleted.
U, N, O, O.
Sun, then, okay, we have to put S, P, Q, R, S, H,
H, G, I,
M, N,
E. Sunshine, cap, S, U, N, S, H, I, N, E.
Uppercase. Numeric.
Now I press the bookmark button until I go to the numeric, and I write 2, 1, 1.
1.
Let's see if we did a good job here. Now I press the pound key to confirm.
Confirmed. CELA direct to player. 7 books. Login successful.
Nice. That's a nice, always a nice thing to hear. So as you know, as you can see, every stage of the way we hear what is going on with the player. So we have logged in into a test account. Now, I should note that there are 2 ways you can access your books. You can set the player to automatically check the bookshelf and download everything that is on the bookshelf that is new. And that's an option that might be good for most of you. But if you want to be more hands-on, you can configure manual downloads. So let's explore. The key 1 is the key that we will use to navigate between the different content types that we have on this player.
Leave menu. Search on all tunes. Tune in radio. References. Podcast 0. Podcast feeds. At CELA direct to player. 7 books. Tune in radio. For podcast 0. CELA direct to player. 7 books.
Okay, so I kept
4.
pressing.
Brief history of information networks from Stone Age
good.
to I.
So it tells me if I stopped on, I kept pressing the letter 1 until I heard CELA direct to player. And we already heard one of the books. Now we can use the 4 and the 6 and the 4 keys to navigate like we did in the menus to explore the bookshelf.
3.
Leviathan wakes. The
2.
dust. By
1.
a suitable boy.
Sync content now.
If I kept pressing the 4, we have a sync content now, so you can force it to sync and get new books.
7. The way of integrity, finding the path to your true self.
Okay, well, so all sorts of books that are on my bookshelf. If I press the key 7 now, I told you that the menu key 7 is context specific. That means that now it will know that we're in the bookshelf.
Menu. Add account.
So it goes straight to either to add account.
Import configuration. CELA direct to player.
So it's kind of bringing you to a relevant section.
CELA direct to player. 211,470.
Okay, so we have now, because I have 2 accounts, one that we have just added here and one that is that I had already loaded before this demo session. Okay, so enough of this exploration of the bookshelf. Let's see.
CELA direct to player. 211,400. Internet radio. 1. Playlist. Search on reference.
Sorry, I'm keep pressing the 1 key.
0. CELA direct to player. 7 books. 7. The way.
Nice. Okay, so let's go to one that is already downloaded.
2. 1.
a suitable boy. By Victor.
2.
Dust. By
3.
Leviathan wakes.
4. Nexus. A
Okay,
brief history of
so
information. Works.
now I can, let's say if we wanted to hear more information, the information key is the number 5. You can imagine that you're going with your navigation, with your arrow keys, 2, 8, 4, 6. But if you just want to know what this is, you press the center and we find.
You don't know a Harari.
Description.
Less than be greater than from the number 1 less than I greater than New York
Okay,
Times.
so we hear a description of the book.
Slash.
Okay. I press play.
Lions and tigers evolved from a common feline ancestor.
So now it plays, it resumes from exactly where I have left my book. How can we now, let's go into the playback of the player. We can, of course, just play and pause by using the play button, which I just did. We have I told you before that the volume buttons have multiple functions. So if I press quickly the power on and off button,
speed,
we hear the word speed. So now if I press the up button, it will not increase the volume, but it will increase the speed.
You first have to define tone, volume, speed. Lions, tigers. This turned out to be a never-ending job. It's animals, plants, and other organisms across the pound.
So now I'm pressing the lower button.
The whole point of evolution.
And we hear a beep when we reach the normal speed. So it's good to know if you, just to remember which was the standard speed, playback speed. You could also control the tone. You can accentuate different frequencies, higher frequencies or lower frequencies, which is a nice touch, by pressing this. So basically the volume up and down have the function of volume control, speed control, and tone control. And you navigate between those by pressing the power off button quickly.
Speed, tone, volume, speed, tone.
So let's say
volume.
I want to stay with volume. I think if you don't do anything for a while, it assumes you're going back to volume. Okay, so we have started a playback of a book. How can we navigate a book? We can explore with the same keys. On the keypad, the 2, 8 will go up or down in the menu structure of the book. Let's see.
Time jump, 30 minutes.
This now is a time jump. So if I was to now use the 4 and 6 keys, I could press 6 and it will jump ahead 30 minutes.
For I did but seal once to a thing.
Okay, and it started playback 30 minutes later.
Time jump, 10 minutes.
And you can customize if you find that you never use the 30-minute time jumps. You could actually customize this in the menus of the player if you're so inclined.
Time jump, 5 minutes. Time jump, 1 minute.
I'm pressing the 2 key until we hear.
Time jump, 30 seconds. Bookmark.
Bookmarks. So you can, if you have bookmarks, you can navigate between your previously set bookmarks, which is practical if, for example, you have a book that has notes. And so you can mark your position, go find the notes section, listen to a pertinent note, and then go back to your bookmark.
Phrase.
Phrase.
Level 1.
In this case, this book only has level 1, but other DAISY books can have multiple levels.
Chapter 4. For most of the Middle Ages. Chapter 5. So
I was pressing the 6 key to go forward through the sections, which are, in this case, chapters of the book. We have an interesting feature, which is, like we said, the 5 can give you an information about where you are.
Where am I? 33%. Heading 9. Chapter 5. Time remaining 56 minutes, 15 seconds.
Well, here it actually tells you how much time there is in the chapter, not in the book. So the 5 key is a good way to orient yourself. The 0 key does something similar, but it gives you slightly different information.
Info. Nexus.
It tells you the title of the book.
23 headings. Total time 17 hours, 28 minutes, 27 seconds. Time elapsed 5 hours, 47 minutes, 59 seconds. Time remaining 11 hours, 40 minutes, 28 seconds. 0 bookmarks in book.
Okay, it tells you more than you ever wanted to know. I wonder if you could, yes, if you press the cancel key, which is to the next of those,
volume 20,
to the left of the 0, if you press that one, you could interrupt the speech. See, I'm learning with you here. Another interesting feature you might want to know about is how to set a bookmark. Let's check how we're doing with the time, actually. Oh yeah, 2:36. Okay, good. Let's say that I am listening to a book. The bookmark button is the one that is on the top right corner of the player.
Decisions.
So let's say I'm listening to the book. And I like some spot. So I didn't even need to press stop, but I just did it so that I don't have to speak over the Victor stream. I can press this key.
Go to bookmark.
The first time I press it, it's go to bookmark. So here I can type in a number of a bookmark because the bookmarks are numbered.
Insert bookmark.
Insert bookmark. That's the one we want. And here I can put a number if I want to number my bookmarks myself, or if not, I can just press confirm and it will assign the first available number.
Bookmark 1 inserted.
So because this was the first bookmark, we it had the name number 1. And now even if I go, let's say,
Time jump, 30 minutes.
I go,
The
I
working
went, I went forward 30 minutes, but then I can go back and find the bookmarks menu. I go using the key 8.
Level 1. Phrase. Bookmark.
Oh,
Time jump.
okay, bookmark.
Bookmark.
So now I'm going to press the 4 key to go backwards and find my bookmark.
Bookmark 1.
democracy and dictatorship are
Okay.
typically discussed as contrasting political and ethical systems.
Okay, yeah. Stop. Okay. So it is also possible, if you wanted to quickly set a bookmark, if you press and hold the bookmark button. Like I said, most of the features of the player have different functions if you press them quickly or if you press and hold them. If you press and hold, I could have gone quickly to the insert a bookmark function. Let's explore the go to. This is an interesting key, which is to the left, on the left corner. It's kind of opposite the bookmark. And in between these two keys, we have the round bookshelf button that navigates between the online and the offline bookshelf.
Go to page.
Here we have go to page. If the book had pages, I could now key in the type of page.
Go to heading.
Go to heading. So now if I knew that I want to go to heading 2, I could write 2.
2.
And confirm.
Heading 2.
So
To Itzik with love.
So the second heading in the book was dedication. So we went straight to the heading 2. You didn't have to go and navigate until your fingers hurt through, imagine you have a book that has many, many headings, or you're listening to, yeah, so it's a very quick way to navigate if you know where you want to go.
Go to page.
Page,
Go
heading,
to time.
go to time, which is also, again, let's say for some reason you lost your spot and I know that I want to go to 1 hour and 23 minutes, and I would write 1,
1,
2,
2,
3.
3.
1 hour, 23 minutes.
I pressed the pound key and I went exactly there. So these are some main notes. Okay, let's cover a little bit where you get information about the player, because I could talk, but I think we covered the basics of how you set up an account, how you use the keyboard to enter your information, how to navigate books, how to explore the menus of the player with the 7 key. And let's say you don't remember where something is, don't despair. Everything is spoken out and you can just explore until you find what you need. They're pretty logically assigned. And I wanted to cover ways to get help and where to buy this player now that we've talked about it. So this player is $595. There might be, who knows, some promotions around Christmas time. In many instances, it is possible to maybe get it subsidized in some provinces. In Quebec, I know you get it through rehabilitation organizations such as and it's subsidized by the RAMQ, Régie d'assurance maladie du Québec. And in other provinces, I think the best thing is to talk to CNIB Smart Life, and they might be able to know, or your vision loss rehabilitation, to see if there is any chance to get it subsidized, because in some places it is covered. Otherwise, you can buy it either from Humanware directly, which is the manufacturer, or you can buy it from CNIB Smart Life. And for the same price, if you want, you can discuss with CNIB Smart Life offers a pre-configured option, so they can send you an SD card, and once you give them your username and password. So you can check with them if that's an option you prefer. How do you, also for tech support, we are here to help you for anything that is related to CELA. So you can feel free to call us at 855-655-2273, and or to write to us at help@celalibrary.ca, and then somebody from tech support would call you. But this is only for things such as, I cannot find my books on the bookshelf. Why is my book not playing right? How can I set up my account with CELA? I don't know my password. But if it's a question of how do I use my player to play internet radio, or the keys are not responding, then the best thing to do is to go to the Humanware information site. and to call them because they are the manufacturers, so they are the pros, the specialists for this device, and their tech support is brilliant. I used it even today. What else can I tell you? Oh yes, a very useful feature, if you are so inclined, if you press and hold the 1 key, you will enter the user guide of the player. So I will do that.
Entering user guide.
So now we have a user guide that is very well structured. I will press the go to.
Victor Reader Stream User Guide.
Go to heading.
I want to go to the beginning of the book.
Beginning of book.
And I press play.
Victor Reader Stream User Guide.
So this is a text to speech. So now we are using the internal voice of the player, which can be customized, by the way. You can have a different voice. And if you ever want to find out how to use this player, it's a good read, maybe not the most fascinating read, but it certainly is a very helpful way to find out a detail about your player and learn all it can do. And then if I press the 1 key again,
exiting user guide,
then I am back in my normal book and I can press play, and likely I will be back in the Yuval Harari book.
That this is the chief role of it.
There we go. Yes. So basically, very good tips are the key describer key, which is press and hold the 0 key, the 1 key, which you press and hold. When you press the 1 key, you switch through the different types of content until you find the direct to player. Another problem that sometimes you may encounter, if you by accident press the round button here in the middle between the go to and the bookmark button.
Offline bookshelf, text files, 2 files.
So I have 2 files in the offline bookshelf, like my notes and my personal texts.
Online bookshelf, CELA direct to player.
Like this.
A brief history of information networks.
Okay. Okay. So this, if you accidentally press and hold it, you will turn on airplane mode. Let's see.
Airplane mode on.
So if you press it for a second or so, all of a sudden your book is, your phone is on airplane mode, and you may be wondering why your Victor Stream isn't downloading any books. Why can't you access anything? That's because you may have accidentally turned on airplane mode. So then all you have to do is press and hold.
Airplane mode off.
And it's back off. So I hope that this gives you a quick overview, and I know that we've covered lots of information. This will be recorded and you can access it later, but I want to leave time for your questions. So I'm happy that you were here to listen to me, and I hope you got something out of this presentation, and time for your questions.
Thanks, Awana. That was great. We did have a couple questions in the Q&A that I answered. One regarding accessing books that you've downloaded that are in your offline bookshelf, whether you still need to be connected to Wi-Fi to access those, which once they're downloaded, you don't. The other question was, did you have something else to say about that one, Awana?
No, it's
Okay.
perfect. And in fact,
Okay.
even if somehow the books get deleted from your bookshelf, until you delete them yourself, they will still be in your, once they're downloaded, they're locally stored on your device until you delete them. Actually, one thing I want to add, it's a good practice to not keep all your books stored on your bookshelf, because there is a limit of how many you can have. If you keep too many on your bookshelf, you risk that no new ones come on automatically. So it's always a good practice to delete them, and for that you use the number 3, which I haven't covered, but thank you for reminding me. So when you're on a book, you press the number 3, and one of the options is to return the book. So once you're done with a book, like for any library, it's a good practice to delete it and make room for new ones. I completely forgot to mention that one of the features of the Stream 3 is that it has Bluetooth enabled, so you can listen to it connecting it to wireless headphones. Yeah, that's a small detail, but could be important for some of you to decide whether you want the new Victor Stream. But thank you all so much for listening, and don't hesitate to ask us any questions or follow-up questions.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and never miss a video.